The best ever Doctor Who parody is back for another season. And yes, better than The Curse of the Fatal Death. It's not even close. And yes, I said season. These aren't just 10-minute shorts either. These are full-length episodes, and with an insane amount of production value for a parody. The show is called Doctor Who, not to be confused with Doctor Who. I know, they sound very similar, a lot of people have been getting them mixed up, but they're on two different sections of BBC iPlayer, just so you know, and IMDb serialized both list them separately, so just FYI. Doctor Who 2023 is the parody. Doctor Who 2005 is the one that finally wrapped up after 10 good seasons and 3 not so good ones, so there's just been so much of it to parody. But Doctor Who 2023 is still really funny if you haven't seen the original. It has plenty of ideas of its own and makes jokes about today's hyper-progressive media landscape, which I'm sure most of us can relate to in one way or another, and if not, then you're probably the butt of the joke. And for fans of the first season, you'll be pleased to know that Cutie Gatwa reprises his role as the gay black non-binary Doctor who grew out of David Tennant's left testicle. His companion this time is played by Varada Sethu, who we were all very excited to see ever since this footage emerged from her at a film shoot in Cardiff where she says the word 9 times. 9 times, I counted. I don't know why she's calling the Doctor the N-word. Presumably it makes sense in context. Although perhaps not, because not making sense is actually very on brand for Doctor Who. The first episode is called The Robot Revolution, better known by its unofficial title of Planet of the Incels, which I think they originally planned to use, but it had to get changed because the word incel is considered a slur in some territories. A shame they had to change it, but in our hearts, Planet of the Incels it will always be. So, on to my thoughts about the episode. This comes with a spoiler warning because I will be explaining the jokes. The first thing we see, or rather hear, is this blonde, straight white man saying that girls can't do maths. This is a subtle joke about how blonde men in Western fiction are almost never good people. Seriously, try and think of one from the last 20 years that wasn't based on something already existing. So, Thor and Captain America don't count because they were blonde in the comics. No, this is specifically satirizing a recent trend in Western media that I think a lot of people are sick and tired of, but they're afraid to say it because, blonde white people aren't a marginalized group. And it's brilliant because every time this character acts creepy or controlling, you're reminded of how the last few times when Hollywood has written a blonde man that way, and this just satirizes it perfectly. We then time skip 17 years to the present day, even though no one seems to age, but who cares, it's a parody. And Belinda, that's the name of Varada Sethu's character, hasn't been with the blonde guy for 16 of those years. But for some reason, she still keeps the certificate of the star that he had named after her framed on her bedroom wall. Probably right next to her 25 meters certificate. But we really all know it's only there because it's going to be plot relevant in a few minutes. Parody. The Doctor then tries to find her at her workplace, and in doing so he cuts the power to an entire hospital. I know that hospitals do have backup generators, but we don't exactly see the lights coming back on, do we? So yeah, this Doctor is so incompetent he actually kills people who weren't even in danger. I mean, it does seem unlikely that the Doctor's little sonic screwdriver accident also takes out the backup generator, but it also seems unlikely that it would knock out the power in the first place, so who knows? I'm just gonna go with the funnier of the two interpretations, which is that the Doctor definitely killed people. Oopsie! We then get to a scene where the Doctor is too late to find her in his time machine. I know they've done that joke before, but it's a good one. Because by the time the Doctor gets there, Belinda has already been confronted by alien robots from her namesake star and kidnapped by them. They also land in a massive fuck-off rocket that no one seems to notice, which is a satire on how no one noticed the alien stuff in Doctor Who, or if they did, they very quickly forgot about it, which, who else found that annoying when you watched Doctor Who back in the day? And Doctor Who just satirizes it so well. And then they kill a cat for some slapstick comedy, and Belinda does the tell her that her dead pet went to live on a farm cliche, which is funny because she's supposed to be quite intelligent, so she of all people should know that that excuse only works on little kids. She is quippy and annoying all the time that she's being kidnapped, which doesn't actually sell you on the idea that her life is in danger, but of course it's a parody. The point is not to do that. And while the ship is in transit, some random time travel shenanigans happen, which reveal the real purpose of her quippiness is so that one of her throwaway lines can send a ripple effect back in time that results in her being taken there in the first place. No, I am not making this up. When she arrives at the planet, everything is named after her and the people are completely retarded. But it turns out they're only acting retarded to please their robot overlords. This is a subtle metaphor for how the Doctor Who writers and production staff had to act retarded for the last few years of the show's existence, just in order to please the BBC executives, aka the robot overlords who wanted black, brown and gay people in absolutely everything. You see, the satire works on so many levels, it's quite honestly brilliant. The Doctor then finds a way to communicate with Belinda in secret, which doesn't actually communicate any useful information. He just tells her that a group of rebels is about to try and rescue her, just about 5 seconds before it happens. It's not as if this information causes her to do anything different. And even though the Doctor's supposed to be leading this rescue attempt, he ends up breaking down and being useless because he sees his best friend of 6 months, who's had like a minute of screen time, killed before his eyes, and Belinda has to drag him out of the room rather than the other way round. Which almost makes Belinda's reaction in the next scene make a kind of sense, because while the rebels are tending to their wounds, Belinda brings up office politics out of nowhere, remarking that doctors don't appreciate nurses like her. Yes, even though the Doctor's done 6 months of prep work to make this rescue possible, and Belinda's done literally nothing until the last 2 hours. I mean, the Doctor did act pretty useless, but he was actually really helpful when he was off screen. This is a subtle metaphor for the show. Now, at one point, the Doctor says timey wimey, to which Belinda replies, "Doctor, I am not a fucking child," which is a cruel, barbed mockery at the legions of Quirk-Chungus Doctor Who fans who quoted that phrase incessantly and bought merch of it in the 2010s because David Tennant said it once. And frankly, I am here for it. Belinda then learns that the people on this planet have shoulder joints just like ours, but a rather different configuration of internal organs, prompting her to ask, is this better or worse than humans? To which the Doctor gives the obligatory anti-eugenic answer of both of them are equally good. To which Belinda says that that's the truest thing she's heard all day. Okay, Belinda, but you asked. I mean, she pretends to agree with the Doctor, but if you're anti-eugenics, it's not going to be the first thing you think to ask now, is it? So, this is the second companion in a row who's been a closeted eugenicist. But before you start to like her too much, remember that later in the episode she gets pissy that the Doctor scanned her DNA without her consent. But in this scene, without anyone's consent, without even telling anyone what she's about to do, she gives away the rebels' entire position after they'd already sacrificed 1, 2, 3, however many lives it took for her to get out of that place, only for the person they rescued to send herself back and risk however many more in the process. And I'm sure there are plenty of ways that she could have turned herself in like she wanted to do without giving away the rebels' position, but who is she to assume that the Doctor's 6 months of experience with that world in any way trumps her 2 hours? We then come to the twist of the episode where the machine intelligence whose plan involves forcing Belinda to marry it turns out to be the creepy possessive boyfriend from the first scene. They deliver more lines of exposition. Belinda berates her ex-boyfriend/robot overlord for his coercive control, and then she calls this the planet of the incels. Even though there's just one of him, so it should really be the planet of the incel, because he coercively controlled an entire planet and named it after her. Which is more simp behavior than incel, but okay. But like I say, not making sense is kind of on brand for Doctor Who. And on that note, the way that he is defeated makes even less sense. Belinda pulls out the naming certificate for the star that he bought her, which somehow she kept on her person during the entire kidnapping, and for some reason the ex-boyfriend has an identical copy of the certificate, the same one from an earlier point in the timeline, which doesn't make sense because 10 years at that point, when the aliens take him, he wouldn't have actually had it at that point in the timeline, but oh well. They touch the two certificates together and the plot hole engulfs them both, turning him back into an egg and a sperm. And how did Belinda know this was going to work? Because she saw it in a movie. Mwah! Couldn't have written a better parody if I tried. Belinda is spared from the plot hole because the Doctor was touching her and protects her with his plot armor. I mean, because he is a Time Lord, and therefore a complex space-time event. The same complex space-time event that would have nuked an entire planet when he was written by a different writer, but oh well, parody. The Doctor had offered to spare the villain's life earlier in the same scene, which makes it morally acceptable for him to gloat and say, "Yes, Queen!" when he is finally defeated. But it is still not acceptable for him to have saved Belinda in that way because it involved touching her without her consent. Then the robots offer to make reparations and a random black extra smiles at the camera. The Doctor and Belinda go on their merry way and he offers to take her home, but because of more time travel shenanigans he can't get back and the Earth is destroyed. Find out why at the end of the series. Belinda seems to blame the time travel shenanigans on him somehow, or is at least mad at him for some unspecified reason, and the Doctor doesn't see the debris from 2 world landmarks and a convenient calendar of exposition, which is just off camera from the otherwise empty region of space where he just happened to land the TARDIS. That might just be the most pure cinema we've ever seen in this parody. But the rest of the episode is not without its moments. The characters are just so inconsistent. Belinda Chandra is so annoying. I love it. The Doctor is not just a clown, he is the entire minstrel show. And the scenery, the sets, the props, the robot designs are unironically beautiful. You don't normally get this in parodies. The best thing of all is that there are 7 more episodes of this and a spin-off series still to come. So keep watching Doctor Who. Subscribe to this channel and we can enjoy it together. Tell your friends, share this video with them. Tell everyone about this amazing Doctor Who parody, and if we get the viewing figures high enough, then we might just get another season.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.